My girlfriend's parents arranged a marriage for us despite us only being together for 2 weeks. When Maya's parents invited me over for dinner last Sunday, I figured they just wanted to get to know their daughter's new boyfriend better. We'd only been dating since we met at that coffee shop downtown 2 weeks ago. Her dad, Michael, shook my hand firmly and her mom, Linda, hugged me like I was already family. They seemed nice, maybe a little too enthusiastic, but I figured parents just got excited about their daughters' relationships. The dinner conversation was completely normal until dessert, when Michael cleared his throat and said they had something important to discuss. Maya, we've been thinking about this carefully, and we believe Tyler would make an excellent husband for you. We'd like to begin planning the wedding for next spring. I nearly choked on my coffee and felt my face go red. Marriage? We'd been on exactly 4 dates and barely knew each other. I looked at Maya, expecting her to laugh or tell her parents they were being ridiculous. Instead, she just smiled calmly and nodded like this was completely normal. Like we'd been discussing marriage for months instead of barely knowing each other's middle names. I tried to object, saying we'd just started dating and needed more time, but Michael waved me off with this confident smile. When you know, he said firmly. And we know you're perfect for our Maya. Linda nodded in agreement, saying they had excellent instincts about these things. The whole conversation felt like I'd stepped into someone else's life, but what really disturbed me was how prepared they seemed for this moment. Linda disappeared for a minute and came back with a thick wedding planning binder that was already half filled with venue options, vendor contacts, and detailed budget spreadsheets. Maya seemed completely unfazed by the timeline her mother was proposing, nodding along as Linda discussed catering options and flower arrangements like we'd already agreed to get married. I felt like I was watching actors perform a play I hadn't been given the script for. Over the next few days, I started noticing weird things about Maya's behavior that I'd somehow missed before. She never seemed surprised by anything her parents said or did regarding our relationship, like she expected their involvement. When I mentioned feeling overwhelmed about the marriage discussion, she just smiled and said her parents had really good instincts about people and their relationships. She also started dropping casual comments about how her last few relationships had ended badly, like she'd been waiting patiently for the right person to come along. But the strangest thing was how much Maya's parents already knew about personal details of my life. Linda mentioned my job at the accounting firm downtown, which I was certain I'd never told Maya about. Michael asked about my college roommate Steve by name, even though I'd never mentioned him in any of our conversations. When I asked Maya how her parents knew these specific details, she said she must have mentioned them after I told her and I'd just forgotten. But I had a really good memory for conversations, and I definitely hadn't told her about Steve or given her many details about my work. I decided to test something the next time I saw her. I told Maya a completely fake story about my supposed pet dog growing up, a golden retriever named Buddy who loved playing fetch in our backyard. The next time I visited her parents' house, Linda asked how Buddy was doing and if I missed having a dog around. Maya had told them about a pet I'd never owned. Either she was making up random stories about me to her parents, or something much stranger was happening here. I started paying closer attention to details in their house during my visits. There were wedding magazines scattered on the coffee table that looked well-worn and heavily bookmarked, not recently purchased. The guest bedroom had several boxes stacked in the corner that were labeled wedding decorations in Linda's handwriting. When I casually asked Maya when her parents had started collecting all that wedding stuff, she said they'd always been prepared and organized for her wedding someday, whenever it happened to come along. But those magazines were all current issues from the past few months, and some had sticky notes marking specific local vendors and venues in our immediate area, almost like they'd been planning something specific rather than just daydreaming. Last night, I decided to do some deeper investigation and found something that made my stomach drop. Maya's social media accounts going back 6 months were filled with posts about being ready to settle down and find the right person to marry. But the timeline didn't make any sense with our relationship. She'd posted about wanting to get married and start planning a wedding just 3 days before we supposedly met randomly at that coffee shop downtown. I called the coffee shop this morning and asked if they kept security footage from their cameras. The manager said they archived everything for insurance purposes, and when I asked to review the footage from the day Maya and I first met, I discovered what had really happened that morning. The security footage plays on my laptop screen, and I can't tear my eyes away from it. My hands are trembling as I watch Maya enter the coffee shop at 6:47 a.m., almost 2 hours before our supposed chance meeting at 8:30. She sits at a corner table with a perfect view of the door, orders a latte, and then just waits for me. She's not reading a book or scrolling through her phone like a normal person killing time. She's watching the door with intense focus, checking her watch every few minutes. At 7:15, she takes out a small notebook and reviews something inside, nodding to herself. The most disturbing part comes at 8:22. When I walk in, the camera angle captures Maya's face perfectly as she spots me, and the change is immediate. Her posture straightens, she quickly applies lipstick, and then deliberately knocks over her coffee cup just as I'm heading to the counter. The timing is too perfect to be coincidence. I watch myself rush over to help her clean up the spill, our hands meeting over napkins, her practiced laugh as I make a joke about Monday mornings. The entire meet cute that I'd thought was a lucky accident was meticulously orchestrated. "What the hell?" I whisper, rewinding the footage to watch it again. I call Maya immediately. My heart pounds in my chest as the phone rings. She answers on the third ring, her voice cheerful. "Hey, I was just thinking about you. Have you thought more about what Mom said about the spring flowers? She's worried peonies might—" "I need to see you," I interrupt. Now, there's a pause. "Is everything okay?" "No, everything is not okay. We need to talk. I'm at my apartment." Another pause. I'll be there in 20 minutes. While waiting, I download the footage to my phone and check my apartment thoroughly. Something about this situation has triggered a paranoia I've never felt before. In my bedroom, I notice a small black object tucked behind my alarm clock that I've never seen before. It's the size of a thumb drive with a tiny lens. A camera. There's a fucking camera in my bedroom. My blood runs cold as I scan the room more carefully. I find another one disguised as a wall outlet in my living room, and a third hidden in a fake smoke detector in the hallway. All professionally installed. All positioned to capture every corner of my apartment. When Maya knocks on my door, I've collected all 3 cameras and placed them on my coffee table. I open the door without greeting her, my body rigid with anger and fear. Tyler, what's going? Her eyes fall on the devices on the table, and something flickers across her face. Not surprise or confusion, but something that looks almost like resignation. You want to explain these? I ask, stepping aside to let her in. She walks in slowly, her movements suddenly more careful. I don't know what those are. Don't lie to me. They're cameras, Maya, hidden all over my apartment. And I have the security footage from the coffee shop showing you stalking me for 2 hours before we accidentally met. Maya sits down on my couch, her face unnaturally calm. You don't understand what's happening? Then explain it to me. Explain why you pretended our meeting was random when you clearly targeted me. Explain why there are cameras in my home. Explain why your parents are planning our wedding after 2 weeks. She takes a deep breath. My parents. They have certain abilities. What? They can see things, futures, possibilities. They knew you were coming into my life before I did. I stare at her, incredulous. Are you seriously trying to tell me your parents are psychic? Not psychic exactly. They just know things. They've always known things. She gestures at the cameras. This isn't what you think. They're protective. They needed to make sure you were safe. Safe? From what? And how does that justify spying on me in my own home? I'm nearly shouting now. From making the wrong choice, she says quietly. They've been looking for someone like you for a long time. Someone compatible. Compatible for what, Maya? Because this is starting to sound like some cult shit. She stands up suddenly, moving toward me with an intensity that makes me step back. Let me show you something. She reaches into her purse and pulls out her phone, scrolling through photos until she finds what she's looking for. Look at this. It's a photo of her parents, but they look exactly the same as they do now. The date stamp shows it was taken in 1982. That's impossible, I whisper. Not impossible, just different from what you understand. She puts her hand on my arm. I need you to trust me. What my parents want, what we want, it's a good thing. You were chosen, Tyler. I pull away from her touch. I didn't ask to be chosen, and I definitely didn't consent to being stalked and spied on. The cameras were just a precaution to make sure you were who they thought you were. As she speaks, I notice something else, a small black dot on the underside of her earring. Another camera, broadcasting everything right now. Who's watching us right now, Maya? I ask, pointing at her earring. Her hand flies up to touch it, a genuine look of confusion crossing her face. Your parents are watching this conversation, aren't they? She pulls the earring off and stares at it, her face paling. I didn't know, she whispers, and for the first time, I believe her. I swear I didn't know. I grab my phone and keys. I'm leaving. Don't follow me. Don't call me. Don't text me. Whatever this is, I want no part of it. As I reach the door, Maya calls out, her voice suddenly desperate. Tyler, please, you don't understand what's at stake. They need you. I need you. I turn back one last time. What I understand is that you and your parents are dangerous. Stay away from me. I slam the door behind me, my mind racing with questions. What did she mean by compatible? Why me specifically? And most disturbing of all, what happens to people who get chosen, but try to walk away? I've been driving around for hours, unable to go back to my apartment. The weight of what I've discovered is crushing me. I finally pull into a 24-hour diner, order a coffee, and open my laptop. I need to know more about Maya. Social media is the obvious starting point. I scroll through her Instagram, looking for patterns, for clues I missed. Her profile only goes back 2 years, suspiciously short for someone her age. I search her name on other platforms and find nothing before 2021. It's like she didn't exist before then. I try a different angle and search for her previous relationships. Nothing obvious comes up, but I find a group photo from a charity event last year. Maya stands next to a tall guy with his arm around her waist. The caption doesn't name him, but someone in the comments asks, "How's Greg doing?" Maya's response, "We're not together anymore. Please don't ask about him." I search for Greg plus Maya and eventually find his full name, Gregory Winters. His social media goes dark 8 months ago. His last post, meeting M's parents tonight. Wish me luck. Nothing after that. No updates, no activity. A cold feeling settles in my stomach. I search for more of Maya's exes and find references to 2 others, Jason Chen and Dominic Alvarez. Both have the same pattern, active social media that abruptly stops after mentions of meeting Maya's family. All 3 men were reported missing by family or friends. All 3 cases remain open. My phone buzzes with a text from Maya. We need to talk. Please come back. I ignore it and keep digging. I find a news article about Jason Chen's disappearance that mentions Detective Rodriguez as the lead investigator. I make a note of the name. Another text. My parents are worried about you. I turn my phone off completely. The next morning, I go to work early, hoping to lose myself in spreadsheets and client meetings. Around 11 a.m., my assistant buzzes me. There's a couple here to see you. They don't have an appointment but insist it's urgent. Michael and Linda. My blood freezes. Tell them I'm in a meeting. They said they'll wait. I peek through the blinds of my office. Maya's parents sit calmly in the waiting area, Linda flipping through a magazine while Michael stares directly at my door as if he can see through it. I grab my jacket and phone, planning to slip out the back exit. But when I open my office door, Linda is standing there, smiling. Tyler, dear, we thought we'd save you the trouble of avoiding us. Her voice is honey sweet, but her eyes are cold. Michael appears behind her. We should talk privately. Before I can object, they're in my office, closing the door behind them. Linda sits primly on my visitor chair, while Michael remains standing, effectively blocking the exit. What do you want? I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. We want to clear up some misunderstandings, Linda says. Maya is quite upset. Misunderstandings? You put cameras in my apartment. You stalked me. 3 of Maya's ex-boyfriends are missing. Something flickers across Michael's face, surprised, perhaps, that I've connected those dots. Linda waves her hand dismissively. Those young men weren't suitable. You are. Suitable for what? For Maya, of course. Linda leans forward. We selected you very carefully, Tyler. Your genetic profile is exceptionally compatible. My genetic? What are you talking about? My heart is hammering in my chest. We've been searching for someone like you for a very long time, Michael says. Someone with the right markers, the right bloodline. It's quite rare, you know. How would you even have my genetic profile? Linda smiles. Remember that charity blood drive at your office last year? We have connections. I feel sick. You're insane, both of you. I'm calling security. Michael steps closer. That would be unwise. We're simply trying to help you understand your importance. The ceremony requires someone of your specific lineage. What ceremony? What are you talking about? The wedding, dear, Linda says, as if explaining to a child. It's not just a marriage. It's a union of bloodlines, a completion. I'm not marrying your daughter. I'm not participating in whatever crazy cult ritual you're planning. Michael's expression darkens. You don't have a choice, Tyler. You've been chosen. The process has already begun. Get out of my office. Now. I reach for my phone. Linda stands, surprisingly calm. We'll go, but this isn't over. Maya needs you, more than you can understand. She places a small velvet box on my desk, a gift, to help you see. They leave as suddenly as they appeared, Michael nodding at me like we've just concluded a pleasant business meeting. I don't touch the box. Instead, I call in sick for the rest of the day and drive straight to Maya's apartment. I need answers. Her door is unlocked. I enter cautiously, calling her name. No response. The apartment is eerily quiet. In her bedroom, I find a makeshift altar in the corner. Black candles, strange symbols drawn in what looks like dried blood, and my stomach lurches dozens of photos of me. Me walking to work. Me at the gym. Me sleeping in my apartment. All taken before we supposedly met. On her desk, a leather-bound book lies open. Inside are detailed notes about me, my daily routine, my medical history, even my blood type. Beside it, a calendar with the date of the wedding circled in red. Beneath it, written in Maya's neat handwriting, the vessel ceremony. I hear the front door open. Maya calls my name. I grab the book and a handful of photos, stuffing them into my jacket. As Maya appears in the bedroom doorway, I push past her. Tyler, wait, it's not what you think. But I'm already running down the stairs, my mind racing faster than my feet. Whatever this is, whatever they're planning, I need to stop it before I end up like Greg, Jason, and Dominic. I need to find Detective Rodriguez. After leaving Maya's apartment, I drive aimlessly for hours, my mind racing with questions that have no answers. The book and photos I stole burn a hole in my jacket pocket. Around midnight, I pull into a motel parking lot and check in under a fake name, paying cash. I can't go home, not with what I know now. In my dingy room, I spread the evidence across the bed. Photos of me sleeping, eating, working, all taken weeks before I supposedly met Maya. The leather-bound book is even worse, containing detailed notes about my daily routine, medical history, and family background. One page lists my blood type, genetic markers, and something called compatibility indices. I need to find someone who knows what's happening, and there's only one lead I have, Steve. Not my college roommate Steve, Maya's ex-boyfriend Steve, the one who disappeared before Greg, Jason, and Dominic. After hours of searching online, I find a Steve Martinez who matches the description from social media photos with Maya. His sister posted recently about him being found confused but alive in a homeless shelter 3 cities over. I drive through the night. Arriving at the address, I found a small rehabilitation center just after visiting hours begin. I tell the receptionist I'm Steve's cousin. He doesn't get many visitors, she says, eyeing me suspiciously. Just his sister. We just heard he was found. I lie. The family's been worried sick. She softens and directs me to room 112. I find Steve sitting in a chair by the window, staring blankly outside. He's gaunt, with hollow eyes and a patchy beard. If I passed him on the street, I wouldn't recognize him from the photos I saw online. Steve, I say softly. He turns slowly, his eyes unfocused. Do I know you? No, but we have someone in common. Maya. His entire body goes rigid. His eyes widen in terror. You need to leave. Now. I step closer. Steve, I need your help. Maya and her parents. They got you too? He interrupts, suddenly alert. How did you escape? I found out what they were doing before whatever they did to you. Steve laughs, a hollow, broken sound. Lucky you. The ceremony hadn't started yet. The ceremony? You mean the wedding? He shakes his head vigorously. Not a wedding. A transfer. They need vessels. Compatible vessels. I show him the book I took from Maya's apartment. Is this what they used on you? His hands shake as he flips through the pages. Mine had different symbols, but same idea. They're preparing you, marking you. He looks up suddenly. When is the ceremony planned? The wedding is set for spring. That's when they'll do it. On your wedding night. He grabs my arm with surprising strength. They'll strap you down. Linda will drink something black. Then she'll His voice breaks. What happened to you, Steve? I don't remember everything. Just flashes. An altar. Candles. Michael chanting while Linda drank from a cup. Maya crying in the corner. His grip tightens. Then Linda. She wasn't Linda anymore. Something else was inside her. Something old. It tried to move into me, but something went wrong. The transfer failed. What do you mean? Move into you. There's something inside Maya's family. Something ancient that needs new bodies. When the old vessel wears out, they find a new one. That's what the compatibility tests are for. He taps the book. They need someone who won't reject the entity. My stomach turns. And the other guys? Greg, Jason, Dominic? Failed transfers. Like me. But I don't think they survived. I need to see for myself. That night, I drive to Michael and Linda's house. It's nearly midnight, and the place is dark. I park down the street and approach from the back, using the skills I learned picking locks in college to get through the basement door. The basement is finished, a normal-looking rec room with a pool table and bar. But as I explore further, I notice a door hidden behind a bookshelf. It's locked, but after some work with my picks, it swings open. The smell hits me first, incense mixed with something metallic. I flick on my flashlight to reveal a room that makes my blood freeze. Stone walls, a large altar in the center, candles everywhere. The floor is stained dark in places, and symbols I don't recognize are carved into every surface. Against the far wall stands a cabinet. Inside, I find journals, dozens of them dating back centuries. I grab the most recent one and flip it open. Transfer attempt 147. Subject, Gregory Winters. Compatibility index 82%. Transfer initiated but rejected at phase 3. Subject expired during extraction. Vessel Maya showing signs of deterioration. New subject required urgently. I flip through more entries, each documenting a transfer that failed. The oldest journal is dated 1897. All describe the same process, finding compatible subjects, preparing them through ritual, and attempting to transfer something called the Ancient One into them. A noise upstairs makes me freeze. Footsteps. I quickly photograph several pages of the journal with my phone, then slip out the way I came in. Back in my car, I'm shaking so hard I can barely drive. I need to confront Maya one last time to hear the truth from her. I text her to meet me at a public park the next morning. She arrives looking exhausted, with dark circles under her eyes. You broke into my parents' house, she says without preamble. I found the altar room, the journals. I talked to Steve. She sits heavily on a bench. Then you know. I want to hear it from you. She stares at her hands for a long moment. It's been in our family for generations. The Ancient One. It extends our lives, gives us power, but it needs new bodies eventually. And I'm supposed to be the next one? Not you. Her voice breaks. Me. I'm the vessel now. But I'm failing. The Ancient One is too strong. It's consuming me from inside. She looks up with tears in her eyes. My parents weren't looking for a husband for me, Tyler. They were looking for a new vessel for the thing inside me. Why me? Your bloodline, your genetic markers. You're the most compatible host we've found in decades. The others. They weren't strong enough. She reaches for my hand, but I pull away. I didn't want this. I tried to fight it, but they've been planning this for so long. And what happens to you after the transfer? I'll be free. Finally free. Her eyes plead with me. Please, Tyler. I'm dying. It's killing me. I stand up, backing away from her. I'm not going to be your sacrifice, Maya, and I'm not going to let your parents keep doing this to people. You don't understand. If the Ancient One doesn't find a new vessel, it won't just die. It will take everyone connected to it with it. My parents. Me. Her voice drops to a whisper. And now you too. As I walk away, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You've seen too much, Tyler. The ceremony will proceed with or without your cooperation. The Ancient One has chosen you. I delete the message and pull up Detective Rodriguez's contact information. It's time to end this, whatever it takes. I wake up before dawn in my motel room. The evidence from Maya's apartment spread across the bed where I fell asleep studying it. My neck aches from the awkward position, but the discomfort feels distant compared to the weight of what I've learned. Maya's family needs a vessel for some ancient entity. And they've selected me. 3 men before me have disappeared. Steve survived but is broken. I can't be next. I gather everything into a folder and head to the police station. The morning shift is just starting. Officers clutching coffee cups and logging into computers. I ask for Detective Rodriguez at the front desk. He's not in yet, the desk sergeant tells me. Can someone else help you? It has to be Rodriguez. It's about the missing persons cases he's working on. Greg Winters, Jason Chen, Dominic Alvarez. The sergeant's expression changes. Take a seat. I'll call him. 20 minutes later, a tired-looking man in his 50s walks in, his badge hanging from his neck. I'm Rodriguez. You have information about my missing persons? And I think I'm about to be the next one, I say. He studies me for a moment, then nods toward a door. Interview room 3. For the next 2 hours, I lay everything out for him, meeting Maya at the coffee shop downtown 2 weeks ago. The 4 dates, the dinner at her parents' house where they announced wedding plans for spring, the hidden cameras, the security footage, Steve's testimony, the altar room, the journals. I show him the photos and the book I took from Maya's apartment. Rodriguez listens without interrupting, taking notes in a small notebook. When I finish, he sits back and sighs deeply. If this was the first time I'd heard a story like this, I'd think you were having some kind of breakdown, he says finally. But it's not. What do you mean? He pulls out a tablet and opens a file. The first case I found was in Chicago, 1978. 3 men disappeared over 8 months. All had been dating a woman named Margaret Thorne, whose parents suddenly moved away after the disappearances. Before that, Boston, 1962. Same pattern, different names. He scrolls through more files. Seattle, 1995. Denver, 2008. Always the same, a family moves to town. Daughter dates several men who disappear. Then the family vanishes. My mouth goes dry. They've been doing this for decades? Longer. I've traced similar patterns back to the 1940 seconds, but the trail gets cold before that. Different names each time, but the same MO. He taps my evidence folder. But this is the first time I've had physical evidence. And a living witness. Steve, I say. Rodriguez nods. I need to talk to him, and we need more evidence to make arrests stick. These people are careful. They've been evading detection for generations. What about the altar room? The journals? We need a warrant, which means convincing a judge this isn't just a domestic dispute gone weird. He looks at me intently. They're expecting you to run. To hide. What they're not expecting is for you to play along. What are you suggesting? Go back. Tell Maya you've been thinking about what she said, that you understand she needs your help. Make her believe you're willing to go through with the wedding. My stomach turns. You want me to be bait? I want you to help me catch them in the act. We'll wire you. Have a team ready. When they start the ceremony, we move in. And if something goes wrong, if they realize I'm working with you, we'll have eyes on you the entire time. The second anything feels off, we pull you out. I think about Steve's hollow eyes, about the journals documenting failed transfers spanning centuries, about Maya's desperate plea for freedom from whatever is inside her. There's something else you should know, I say. Maya told me she's the current vessel, that the entity inside her is killing her. What if she's a victim too? Rodriguez considers this. All the more reason to end this. If what she's saying is true, we need to get her help. Over the next few days, we build our case. Rodriguez interviews Steve, whose fragmented testimony corroborates everything I've told him. We set up surveillance on Michael and Linda's house, documenting their movements. I text Maya, telling her I've been thinking about what she said, that I want to understand more. She responds immediately. Come to dinner tomorrow night. Just us. We can talk. Rodriguez's team fits me with a wire and a panic button disguised as a watch. Remember, he says, get them to talk about the ceremony, about the previous men. We need confessions. At Maya's apartment, she looks simultaneously hopeful and terrified when she opens the door. You came back, she whispers. I needed to understand, I say, the words feeling like ash in my mouth. If what you told me is true, if you're suffering. She takes my hands. It's true. Every word. I didn't want to drag you into this, but I don't have a choice anymore. Over dinner, I steer the conversation toward the ceremony, toward what happened to the others. Maya speaks openly, believing I'm considering helping her. The transfer has failed before because the vessels weren't compatible enough. She explains. Greg was close, 85% compatibility, but his body rejected the Ancient One during the final phase. Jason and Dominic were even less compatible. And what happens during the transfer exactly? My parents perform the ritual. They've been preparing for months, gathering ingredients, strengthening the Ancient One inside me. On our wedding night, they'll take us to the altar room. You'll drink a preparation to make you receptive, and then, she hesitates, the Ancient One will move from me to you. And the others who failed? What happened to them? Her eyes drop. Their bodies couldn't handle the rejection. It was messy. I swallow hard. And your parents just disposed of them? They had no choice. The Ancient One demands sacrifice when it's disappointed. She squeezes my hand. But you're different. Your compatibility is the highest we've ever found. 97%. You'll survive the transfer. I pretend to consider this. When would it happen? The night of the rehearsal dinner. My parents have already started preparations. She looks at me hopefully. Does this mean you're willing? I force myself to nod. I don't want you to suffer anymore. The relief on her face is genuine, which makes what I'm doing even harder. The next day, Rodriguez confirms we have enough for a warrant. The rehearsal dinner is in 2 days. We'll have officers positioned throughout the house. When they take you to the basement, we move in. The night of the rehearsal dinner arrives. Maya's parents greet me warmly at the door, all previous hostility gone. Linda hugs me tightly, whispering thank you for being her salvation. Throughout dinner, they discuss wedding details as if this is a normal family gathering. I notice Michael checking his watch repeatedly as dessert is served. It's time, he finally says, standing. Tyler, if you'll come with us, there are some traditional preparations we need to discuss. Maya squeezes my hand reassuringly as we follow her parents toward the basement door. I touch my watch twice, the signal to Rodriguez that we're moving. The basement looks different now. Candles illuminate the path to the hidden door, which stands open. Inside the altar room, everything is prepared, black candles burning, strange symbols freshly painted on the floor, a chalice sitting on the altar. The vessel must be prepared, Michael intones, his voice suddenly different, deeper, older. As Linda approaches with the chalice, the basement door crashes open. Rodriguez leads a team of officers down the stairs, guns drawn. Police! Everyone freeze! Michael lunges for me, but 2 officers tackle him to the ground. Linda screams, not in fear, but in rage, a sound no human throat should make. It takes 3 officers to subdue her. Maya collapses to the floor, convulsing. I rush to her side as Rodriguez secures the room. Get a medic down here, he shouts. In the chaos that follows, officers discover a hidden chamber behind the altar. Inside are the remains of Greg, Jason, and Dominic, along with others, some remains decades old. Maya is taken to a hospital, then transferred to a psychiatric facility. The doctors can't explain her condition, violent mood swings, speaking languages she never learned, displaying knowledge of historical events she couldn't possibly know. Michael and Linda are charged with multiple counts of murder. During interrogation, Linda never speaks, but Michael eventually breaks. You don't understand what you've done, he tells Rodriguez. The Ancient One needed a vessel. Now it's angry. It won't stay contained in Maya much longer. What happens then? Rodriguez asks. Michael smiles, a terrible emptiness in his eyes. It finds another way. It always does. I visit Maya once at the facility. She sits in a wheelchair, staring blankly at the wall. When she sees me, something flickers in her eyes, recognition, then fear, then something ancient and hateful. You ruined everything, she whispers, but the voice isn't hers. But I'm patient. I've waited centuries. I can wait a little longer. As I leave, a nurse stops me. Are you Tyler? She keeps talking about you in her sleep. Something about being compatible. I don't answer. I walk out into the sunshine, feeling the weight of what we've uncovered. The entity may be contained for now, but Michael's words haunt me. It always finds another way. I check my phone and find a text from an unknown number. The Ancient One has chosen you. Distance doesn't matter. Time doesn't matter. You are marked. I delete the message and keep walking, wondering if I'll ever truly be free of what happened these past few weeks, or if somewhere in the darkness, something ancient and patient is still waiting for me.